It's flexible, you know. Could be useful on the planet Delphon, where they communicate with their eyebrows. That's Delphon, but how do you do?
I've come to think of the Third Doctor as sort of the final step to creating the Doctor as we know him as a character, where the first Doctor began to open up to his companions.
Yes, it all started out as a mild curiosity in the junkyard. Now it's turned out to be quite a great spirited adventure, don't you think?
And the second Doctor getting more involved with, fights against evil.
There are some corners of the universe which have bred the most terrible things. Things which act against everything that we believe in. They must be fought.
This Doctor sort of fuses it all together with a strong sense of personal justice and a perfected I'm better than you vibe. This isn't to say that those previous two incarnations aren't any less the Doctor, but it's sort of the same stance I take with the Disney princess lineup, that if you take a step back and look at it from Snow White all the way to Moana, there is sort of like this deliberate attempt to sort of improve upon the character as we, or at least the idea of these characters that we know. For example, by the Disney Renaissance, we have a really straightforward idea of exactly what we want from a Disney princess. By the time the Third Doctor's era concludes, we have a really great foundation for Tom Baker to kick off. And Tom Baker's run, I just watched Robot, and oh my god, so good. Tom Baker is a Muppet. You can't convince me otherwise. There's a lot here that we see in Doctor Who going forward. More of Unit, hashtag save Unit, single individual companions, in other words, no other companions there, just this one person traveling through all time and space. Sontarans, more Time Lords, and of course the legendary Master played by legendary Roger Delgado. The Third Doctor's era, in my opinion, is the era of character and action. Budget cuts pretty much had the show filmed primarily on Earth. Like, every story pretty much takes place on Earth. So they decided to run with the idea, okay, well, the Time Lords did just, force the Doctor to regenerate, so low-key they killed him, and they exiled him to Earth, so let's make that the story. So the Doctor doesn't know where to go, so he hangs out at Unit. This forced the Doctor and the show to interact with people more, such as the Brigadier, Benton, Liz Shaw, Joe Grant, Mike Yates, and of course the legendary Sarah Jane. And because it's always stuck mostly in the same location, we see these characters fleshed out a bit more. There's such a large cast for the Doctor and the characters to play off of, and Unit never feels more like a character than it does here. The Doctor himself, he's sort of rather loath to sit still, and he spends a lot of time in the early days, complaining about being stuck on Earth, a planet so scientifically and even socially behind, that he feels like he's living in the Stone Age. You could think of the Doctor sort of like Puck from Gargoyles. He likes Earth enough, and he may not be ready to go home, but he hates being stuck in one place without even the option of leaving. He spends a good period of time trying to fix what the Time Lords did to the TARDIS, and leave. At one point, he even leaves his companions in danger in the claws of Axos, which is hilarious. What happens? Actually, possibly my favorite ending to an episode of Doctor Who.
Now, obviously, the Time Lords have programmed the TARDIS always to return to Earth. It seems that I'm some kind of a galactic yo-yo.
The Third Doctor is possibly the most competent of his incarnations. Expert martial artist. This man loves to throw people. Like, oh my god, this is like his superpower, is I throw people. And I reverse the polarity, but I throw people. But, martial artist, sword fighter, linguist, diplomat, driver, scientist, mechanic. He can even levitate. If I had to compare him to anyone, it would probably be the Dos Equis guy, the most interesting man in the world from those commercials. He reminds me a bit of the scene from the Ninth Doctor when he's just sort of standing there. Arms folded, just sort of laid back, but he's in complete control of whatever room he's in. He's very good at just being capable, honestly, and can come off as a bit standoffish, possibly a bit of a jerk. Possibly, I think the Doctor could come off that way to a lot of people, and it sort of puts the Doctor in lines for like Willy Wonka, as Nostalgia Critic pointed out. He only seems to have time for the people and ideas that he thinks matters. He's at first not interested in Joe Grant, as opposed to Liz Shaw, who was more scientifically minded, but he gradually warms up to her, and she is kind of like not just an assistant, but also possibly a student. Honestly, his best relationship, I feel, is with the Brigadier and the Master, as he has such a unique relationship with them. With the Brigadier, he clashes with him, disagrees with him, insults him, but there is a clear respect the two of them have, and it feels like a sort of sibling dynamic where it's pretty much, look, only I get to insult the Brigadier, alright? You have not earned the right to insult my boy, the Brigadier, alright? So no, sit down. And even stuff like the Doctor Who and the Silurians, the end of that episode, the end of that adventure, would normally be this huge falling out the Doctor would have. But it really does it really does show that how different their relationship is and how strenuous it is. With the Master, it should be noted that the Master is kind of everywhere in the Pertwee era. Like, he showed up and he never left. They really wanted to sell the character, and here the Master feels almost a bit too mustache-twirly as a villain, but he has a great and commanding presence. And the back and forth the two of them have as friends, rivals, and even enemies. It lays the groundwork for the future Doctor v Master relationships, until we get to weird ones like Sim and Dewan. But it's sort of hilarious seeing the Master in these stories, because sometimes he just shows up. He's just there. Not like he's been planning something. He's like, oh, I'm here. I talked to the Silurians for a bit. They're on my side now. Like, half the time he's not even planning anything. So it's really, really fun when you think about it that way. So one of my favorite stories from the Pertwee era. Oh, okay. So there's actually more than I thought there would be, because going in, I didn't think I really liked the Pertwee era. I just didn't think I would. It still has some of the trappings of classic Who. It can be a bit of a slow burn, but at least by this point, someone's always doing something. The problem is whether or not you're interested in what they're doing. So, favorite episode, Spearhead from Space, the first proper story for the Third Doctor. Gets his costume, which is like, I love the Doctor's costumes. Love it. Doctor Who and the Silurians, which after you watch this and other Silurian stories, you'll find out Chris Chibnall really didn't do anything new with the Hungry Earth and Cold Blood story. Terror of the Autons, first appearance of the Master. Claw of Axos, for that ending. Peladon. I love Curse and Monster of Peladon. I love Peladon. The Sea Devils. Another Silurian story, but it has one of the best things any story could ever have. A sword fight. Every genre needs a sword fight. I don't care what it is, it needs a sword fight. Whether it be rom-com, war story set in the future, spaghetti western, all of it needs a sword fight. Trust me, you'll thank me for it in the future. Just, The Godfather would have been an even better movie. Would have been a better story if there was a sword fight in it. Just saying. The Time Warrior, also Sontarans and Sarah Jane Smith's first appearance. Love it, love it, love a good Sontaran story. And finally, The Three Doctors, because it's the first time we have a multi-doctor story. Patrick Troughton and Jon Pertwee have a great dynamic, even when William Hartnell shows up and just sort of puts them in their place. All really great stuff. And of course, Omega, one of my favorite characters in Doctor Who. Wish there was more of him. Thought he'd be the one that would bring Gallifrey back in the new series, but no, Gallifrey's just sort of back. And not really back. And now it's gone. Hashtag save Gallifrey, hashtag save unit. Anyway, with that in mind, we'll bring this video to a close here. If you're new to the Debug Tank, feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe. Check out some other videos, and I'll catch you all later. This is Debug Think Tank signing off. Thanks for watching, and as always, may your fandom serve you well.
Well, here we go again.